So today we are going to see the reproductive system. Basically, we are going to see the pelvic region. Okay. And that what is pelvis? Pelvis is actually a part of abdomen, right? Abdominal cavity will continue as the pelvic cavity. But and we have seen a lot of things in abdomen, different organs, the muscles and so on. But when we see the pelvic region, we are going to see basically the bones, right? How the structure of the pelvis is made of, you know, in more regarding the hip bone, right? Pelvic girdle, right? You're going to see that. Okay, so I said that I will be talking about the hip bone detail, but that time I couldn't. But now let me try to explain that also along with this. Okay, so we have this there's sex difference between the pelvis, male and female. So we will talk about that also probably then. Okay, so and after this class, you will also see that the pelvic diaphragm, right? The pelvic diaphragm, that is the lower aspect of the diaphragm. Pelvic outlet, it's also called, I mean, a pelvic outlet. Outlet is covered by pelvic diaphragm, right? The lower aspect of the pelvis. That's not open. It is covered by some muscles called pelvic diaphragm. So that is mainly formed by the elevator ana muscles. From right and left side, they interlace at the center. Anyway, you'll see that also. So these are the things that we are going to see in this chapters. Okay, let's start. So again, going to the hip bone. Hip bone has three parts: ilium, pubis, ischium. These three parts of bone, they meet at this cup-shaped area called acetabulum. Acetabulum is a hollow cavity where the head of the femur articulates. So you can see here this a cartilage here that's called triradiate cartilage, and that is an area where these three parts of the bone joins. So initially these bonds were separate, and they later joins at the acetabulum. So this is what you should know primarily about the hip bone. And hip bone is an example of irregular bone, right? It is also called innominate bone, the hip bone. Uh, uh, let's see this. This is a hip bone in detail. So this is how it is arranged. It has got three parts: the ilium, pubis, ischium. When we talk about each part, the ilium is called the wing. This part is called the wing of the ilium, which is expanded part, having a prominence on the upper aspect called iliac crest. Anterior to the iliac crest, there is anterior superior iliac spine. So this is the outer aspect. This is the inner aspect. The medial view and lateral view of right hip bone, the right-sided hip bone. You can see that anterior superior iliac spine. Below that, there is a small depression, small groove-like area. Then again, there is an elevation called anterior inferior iliac spine. Can be seen from both sides. Anterior superior iliac spine, anterior inferior iliac spine. Posteriorly, posterior aspect of the iliac crest, there's a prominence called posterior superior iliac spine. Again, there is a groove followed by posterior inferior iliac spine that could be seen. And after that, there is a notch-like structure here. Right here, that's called greater sciatic notch. Again, greater sciatic notch. When we continue, here there's projection called ischial spine. Ischial spine. So today you have to go back and read about the hip bone once again. Start seeing the diagram and start identifying the different parts of hip bone. Okay, I know it's difficult practically, that we will see when you come back here, but before that you should have knowledge on this. And this is the iliac fossa, which is seen on the medial aspect, right? This is the area where the hip bone is articulating with the sacrum, and obturator foramen can be seen here. This is the pubic symphysis, where the two hip bones articulate anteriorly, forming pubic symphysis. And this is acetabulum, where the head of the femur articulate. And this is ischial tuberosity, on which you're sitting now. Okay, when you're sitting on ischial tuberosity. Right. Let's see in little detail. So this is the pelvic girdle, where you can see the sacrum in between the two hip bones, forming the joints here, sacroiliac joint on either side. Pubic symphysis, which is the junction of two hip bones, mean, it's a joint between the two hip bones anteriorly. The obturator foramen can be seen. The acetabulum articulating with the head of the femur, that also could be seen. The greater sciatic notch followed by ischial spine, right? And the two sides hip bone, when they articulate at the center, here it forms an arch here between the pubic bones called pubic arch. Now, when we consider these three parts, the ilium, pubis, and ischium, we can consider it as separately. But I'll be telling a little bit about these things now, not in detail. Whatever I can see here, I can just talk about. This is the body of the pubis, having superior ramus and inferior ramus of the pubis. Superior, inferior ramus of the pubis. The inferior ramus articulate with the ramus of the ischium to form conjoined ischiopubic rami. So this is the ramus of the ischium. This is the ramus of pubis joins to form conjoined ischiopubic ramus. Okay, that can be seen in this. Again, the iliac fossa can be seen. The wing of the ilium can be seen. Iliac crest. Iliac crest has a prominence on the outer aspect here. This area, the marking is not correct outside, which is called tubercle of iliac crest, which is a very prominent mark. Anterior superior iliac spine, anterior inferior iliac spine could be seen. This. The body of the pubis here, it has an anterior border which is very prominent here, and there's a prominence on the lateral aspect of the anterior border here, and that's called pubic tubercle. So this also can be seen in this. Okay, so let's continue. Let's see more on this. Yeah, this is how it looks, lateral aspect, where we can see that the hip bone, this is the right side hip bone, lateral outer aspect can be seen. It gives a lot of attachments to different muscles, ligaments, and so on. But I'll not talk about the muscles now. I'll be talking about the features. As you can see here, the iliac crest, anterior superior iliac spine, anterior inferior iliac spine, the acetabulum, the body of the pubis having superior ramus, inferior ramus articulating with the ramus of the ischium. This is the ischium, forming conjoined ischiopubic ramus. This is obturator foramen. Posteriorly, we can see the posterior superior iliac spine followed by posterior inferior iliac spine. After having a groove, then there is a big notch here called greater sciatic notch, ischial spine. After that, there is a notch called lesser sciatic notch, this area. And this is the ischial tuberosity. Ischial tuberosity has mainly the body of the ischial tuberosity and the ramus. And body having attachments to some muscles, mainly the hamstring muscles. We have seen that hamstring muscles. So they are getting attached from the ischial tuberosity, and the inferior rami joining with the body and the ramus. Ramus is articulating with the inferior ramus of the pubis, forming conjoined ischiopubic ramus. And we can see here the three parts of the bones meet at this point: acetabulum, ilium, pubis. Ilium superiorly, pubis anteroinferiorly, ischium posteriorly. These can be seen well from this diagram. So it's a lateral view. Again, another view. This is more towards posterior and lateral aspect. Again, right hip bone is demonstrated here. The ischial spine, the greater sciatic notch, then ischial spine, lesser sciatic notch can be seen. Ischial tuberosity, well explained diagram in this. So having different parts of ischial tuberosity, I'm not explaining that now. It has got the body and the ramus. Ramus is articulating with the inferior ramus of the pubis, forming conjoined ischiopubic ramus. Acetabulum can be seen in this. There are different areas of this muscles, of this ischial tuberosity, which could be studied later. That's better. Here, this is showing the sacrum. The sacrum is it's a part of the vertebra, which is the 5 sacral vertebra. They joins to form the sacrum. In fact, it has got anterior aspect and posterior aspect. This is posterior aspect. You can see the spines of the vertebra, they joined and to form spinous tubercle. And there are foramina, which can be seen on posteriorly called dorsal sacral foramina. At the same time, you can see it anteriorly. They are called anterior sacral foramina. Sacrum is articulated with the coccyx, and that forms a sacrococcygeal joint. Coccyx is known as tailbone, right? And the sacral canal can be seen on the inner aspect, that is the space between the area that is between the body and the processes of the sacrum. There is sacral canal through which the spinal cord passes, right? Spinal cord cannot pass because spinal cord ends at the level of lumbar vertebra. So, but there are dura arachnoid, they pass through this area, and below it is opening into sacral hiatus. So these are the different things that you can see. This part of the sacrum on either side is projected called ala. Ala means wings of sacrum that can be seen. There is superior articular facet that articulates with the lumbar vertebra. The lumbar vertebra articulates here in this part. So these things can be seen from this diagram. So we have to talk about sacrum also in detail. That's what probably when you come here, we can explain more. Now, I hope you got some idea. Now, what are the functions of pelvis? The pelvis provides a location for the large muscles of the lower body to connect, giving humans the ability to walk, run, sit, and kneel. So this provides attachment of different muscles, especially the lower part of the body, right? The lower limb muscles which are concerned or confined to the lower limbs, they are getting attached. Not only that, the muscles which are related to the abdomen are also getting attached to the hip. And what it provides ability for the humans to walk, run, sit, and kneel. Okay, so different activities. And it also surrounds reproductive organs, because you know that the reproductive organs are located in the pelvis. Here, when you look at this diagram, a red dashed line can be seen in this dotted line, and that represents the boundary between false pelvis and true pelvis. Okay, false pelvis and true pelvis. We know this is a pelvic area, which can be divided into false pelvis and true pelvis. False pelvis, where you can also see abdominal organs. Okay, they will be seeing in this area, like we are talking about appendix, right? Appendix located in this area, which is a part of GIT. But in the true pelvis, you'll see basically the true pelvic organs, the reproductive organs, the rectum, all those stuffs. But they can ascend into the false pelvis. So suppose urinary bladder that is located in the pelvic region, but it can ascend. It can ascend up when the urinary bladder is filled with the urine. It can move upwards, so it can reach the false pelvis. Anyway, so you should know that this is the area which is going to surround the reproductive organs, urinary bladder, rectum, forming a cavity in which these organs can be supported and protected. The most important mechanical function of the pelvis is to transmit the weight of the trunk to the lower limb. So when you stand, when you walk, when you sit, what's happening is that the weight from the upper part of the body that transmits into the lower limb via pelvis, right? So we'll talk about that more when we see the bone in practical classes. The weight passes mainly through the ala of the sacrum. So when you think about the weight transmission, the weight from the upper part that passes through the ala of the sacrum, this is the ala of the sacrum, through the thick part of the hip bone. So this is the thickest part of the hip bone, lying between the sacroiliac joint and the acetabulum. So that's what. So when you stand, suppose you're standing, so the weight transmission occurs through this way, through the ala of the sacrum, through the thick part of the hip bone between the ala and the hip bone, the acetabulum, then to the femur. But when you sit, the things are different. When you sit, the weight transmission goes from here into the ischial tuberosity. So when you look at the hip bone, we will see that the thickest part of the hip bone is in this region, because there are two conditions. Either when you stand, that time the weight transmission passes from the ala of the sacrum to the hip bone through the acetabulum into the femur. Whereas when you sit from here, ala of the sacrum, it goes to the posterior aspect, it reaches the ischial tuberosity. Okay. So those are the two conditions where the weight transmission occurs differently. So the pelvic girdle, which consists of paired hip bones connected in front with the pubic symphysis and by the sacrum. So this consisting of your pelvic girdle. So you may have a confusion here. What is the difference between pelvic girdle and hip bone? I think you got it. So